Okay, Tone Dan here again, and I'm going to show you how to set up a file simulated process step that is done by an in-house artist or an outside source, and show you how to place it into a template or just save it as a PDF file and load directly into the Xitron RIP. Um, so here we have our simulated process step. This is what an artist might have, like their end master file that they've used with all the channel separations to help create their simulated process separation like we have here. So first off, let me mention about the registration marks and the info. You can do that in a vector program if you're going to send it to a template. Like an Illustrator template or a Corel Draw template. I don't find a need for that because you can save the file straight up as a PDF in Photoshop. And so I build my registration marks and my, if you need registration marks, and my colors and print order all here at the top. I have 2 inches of dead space at the top of the file, and the width and the bottom doesn't matter, but the top, you want to have 2 inches of dead space, and that puts the artwork in the correct position down from the top of the frame. A total of 6 inches, I believe, is standard from the outside diameter of the frame. This is 2 inches. That means like it starts 4 inches down from the screen frame and images your artwork. So the first thing you want to do in a master file like this is like get rid of all of the extra stuff that you don't need for your separation file. So these are all just tools, elements, and other channels that I've used to help build this separation. And that's a t-shirt. You'll often just get this with no RGB. If you're getting artwork from an outside source, they want to show you what it looks like on a t-shirt on the background. So all you do is delete that. But note that this channel is a selected areas channel. Could be masked as well, and it would just be inverted. And I'll show you that. So just all you do is you then invert it back. But you delete that because if you had this with your separations, then it's not a spot color and would not preview correctly. So it would, and most RIPs would not print out because most RIPs only recognize the grayscale spot color separations. If you click on this color, you'll see that this is assigned a custom color here, but I've entered in a PMS 166. That's because I've viewed my color holding up a Pantone book, looking at the colors, and picking a Pantone color. I don't reference the color from the file itself using color picker because that's not as accurate. So the t-shirt you want to delete, right? And then nothing is left but the original art file. This is my RGBs, and in order to print out the separations or for the Xitron RIP to recognize this file as a multi-channel separation file, it still has to be RGB. That's just the way the RIP recognizes it. There's other methods, like if you were to save this as a DCS2 file, you would delete all of these and only have your multi-channel separations in there and save that as a DCS2, and that can be placed into Illustrator with all of the separations included. For going to the Xitron RIP for the Saati laser, you have to delete all of these so that you have nothing left. Step back a moment. You have to merge all of these because you do want to keep the RGB channels. So you flatten that, double click on it so you can delete from it, select all, and delete, so that you see this little checkerboard pattern back here. You don't want just a solid fill of white in the background. You want no art content in there. The file mode has to be RGB. You see it says RGB 8-bit channels. If I was to delete the RGBs, you would then see that this gets automatically changed to a multi-channel file. That's how you save a DCS2. You would go under File, save a copy, and then choose DCS2. And that gives you a single file that you could place in there if you were printing film from a RIP. And you see the spot color is already checked. I'm going to cancel that for a second. And I'm going to step back to make sure that I got my RGBs with nothing in the background, deleted, no white. And now I go to File, Save As, Copy, change this to PDF, Photoshop PDF. And just, give it a custom name, not too long. Long file names will disrupt my Photoshop file here. I just named it, so it's titled in another location what this tutorial is. But you can just call it steps. 8 steps. And you might give it a name or a job number so that your screen room guy can look up by job number. That's most efficient. And make sure that you include the spot colors and that it's still in layers for your RGB. And because if you flatten it, it just fills it with white. And then you include the ICC profiles. More about that later in another tutorial. And so we've changed it to a PDF, gave it a name, job number, click Save, go through that and say, click Yes. And this is a standard setup, just change it to high quality, nothing standard, and Acrobat 5. Under compression, you want a minimum of 300. And so anything images above 450, for example, I compress down to 300 PPIs under JPEG compression. Output, I don't touch that. Security, don't need that. And under summary, save. Now I'll just ask you, it says it's incompatible with earlier versions of Photoshop, and they would have to open it up as a generic PDF. Click yes. Now the file is saved. Still saving, 99%. Now it's saved. Okay, let's switch into Adobe Illustrator to see what this looks like. So I'm in Illustrator. I have a template. I'll go to File and Place. Find the PDF. See in preview, it shows you that there's different colors in there. I'm going to link the file. You could embed it. And click on the page anywhere with the page icon. Now you want to center it. So I'll view this down. Center, and then I've got 2 inches at the top. So I'm going to butt that up to the top of the document. And now you see it comes in with all of my spot colors. So that's great. Right? It's coming in with a preview. And now you're just ready to print. You may get a PDF that gets placed but does not show you the preview. So let me place this again. It is a PDF file that's linked. Place. You see, before I clicked on place, it had a gray, just a one color black preview. Snap it in the center, snap it up at the top, got the spot colors, and then you just save as an AI file. And that's ready to drop in. But this technically is ready to drop in just from this. So I can save this as a PDF file in Photoshop, take the file and just drop it right into the RIP. I don't have to go into another program and add it into a template and save it as an AI. It'll just recognize it like this as is. And I color my, I like to color my whites just something so that I can see them, to make sure that when somebody else gets this, I'll change it to another color, it may confuse them a little bit. And they're like, I don't see the white base. Well, that's because it's colored white on a white background. And there, that just gives you a little bit of a preview as to what that looks like. A lot of people already do that. You're already aware of that. And so that's that. Hope these are helpful. Not that I'm an expert in the Xitron RIP yet, but we're using it at our shop. We have a laser, and it's going well. It was installed well. We calibrated the printed shirts using a reflective densitometer, and we're getting very good halftones off of it. There is a slight interesting change in the halftones, mostly in the shadow tones, like, I don't know, 75, 70% to 80%, 85%. We occasionally get, not occasionally, we're consistently getting more of a line pattern in the halftones that form, where the elliptical dots, they just tend to melt into or form a line pattern. And I think that might have to, no, I was going to say it. I think that might have to do with the mesh and the line count, because we're using 65 and that's pretty high. But it happens in the 55 also. But we tend to get line patterns. And so a way to improve that is we found Dave Menken. He mentioned that there are other options in the RIP, in the Xitron RIP, that you can use. So you have to set it up in advance and RIP them with different percentages of ellipse shape. So, you can have an almost round, you can have round dot, almost round, and then so on, maybe 7 steps further out that form to a complete elliptical dot shape and everything in between. And so you just, RIP until you, in the preview, in the Xitron RIP, you RIP it and preview the various options, and you just land on one that has the least amount of line pattern forming. So why that happens, I can't really tell you, but it's really something in the RIP. It's a quality RIP, high quality RIP. It gives you a lot of functions, a lot of options, but it does, have that slight little error in there. But we haven't seen any other problems. all the screens resolve well. Everything washes out perfectly fine. So that's really my experience so far with the Saati RIP. It's pretty good. Um, enjoy anyway. Definitely a darn good product, darn good machine, and you're going to get a lot of good use out of it. Thanks.